What is up, guys? It's your boy, the Glassway Grinder Cactus, and today you have about 1 week left to frankly easily get your hands on a brand new Nightfall weapon that is undoubtedly one of the best, and arguably the best heavy linear fusion rifle in all of Destiny 2. And so, let's get started. Now, the weapon in question is going to be the Scintillation Legendary Strand Linear Fusion Rifle, and it's dropping from Nightfalls this week. However, this is not your normal week. In fact, this may be your best chance ever to get your hands on this weapon. Now, why is that? Well, it is double Nightfall rewards this week. So if you do beat, for example, a Grandmaster Nightfall, as you can see, where the Adept version is a guaranteed drop, you're gonna get 2 drops. And even if you're not doing Grandmasters, if you're doing normal Nightfalls, doubling your loot at the end of every single run will massively increase the amount of drops of this weapon you get. And on top of that, it's actually also increased Vanguard reputation for this week as well, which means you're going to rank up your Vanguard so much more, which means more Vanguard loot, more Vanguard engrams, and that is going to let you focus more scintillations at the Vanguard vendor Zavala. So we are just going to be flooded with Nightfall weapons this week if you take advantage of it. If you do want to do that, guys, I have done a guide with 3 different recommended builds, one for each different class, as well as just a guide on the strike itself for Grandmaster Glassway. Definitely check it out. It's linked up above. If you can beat the Grandmaster, again, getting that guaranteed Adept version drop for getting Platinum is well worth it, even if it takes you a while to do that GM. Now, as for the weapon itself, why am I so hyped up about this weapon? Well, first of all, the fact that it's strand is actually awesome. We do not have a lot of strand weapons still. It's the most recent new element, and so being able to have a linear fusion rifle that's this good, but it's also in strand, means that if you're running a build that can give strand weapons unraveling rounds, I mean, this is just a no-brainer choice. We also still do have a ton of activities with elemental surges, and so when strand surge is up, this is going to be the obvious best choice in the game if you do want to run a linear fusion rifle. But even without those factors, just this weapon by itself, if it was any other element, it would still be arguably the best linear in the entire game. Now, why is that? Well, first of all, it can get the unbelievably good Viced Stinger origin trait. This makes a huge difference. It was actually so powerful at one point, Bungie nerfed it, but as you can see right here, it is going to have a small chance to reload the magazine when you're dealing damage, just damage. And so that means if you're using a linear fusion rifle for boss DPS, which is very, very common, you have that chance to just auto reload the magazine. This is going to increase your damage output by preventing you from needing to reload as often. And when combined with some of the other perks this weapon can get, things get ridiculous. Now, speaking of some of those other perks, guys, this linear fusion rifle is full of actual god tier PvE perks. Like, if you were making your dream perk pool, this weapon would basically have it. So in that first column, we do have, some good general perks that you can feel happy about. We have auto-loading holster to reload when it's stowed. We also do have rapid hit to massively improve that reload speed. But what we're really going to be looking for is 2 main perks. First of all, it can actually get Envious Assassin, where if you get kills with other weapons, it's going to absolutely balloon this weapon's magazine to double the magazine and sometimes even more so. Now, when we have stuff like the Edge Transit, one of the best heavy grenade launchers for DPS in the entire game, the God Roll involves Envious Assassin. Envious Assassin has proven itself to be an unbelievably good perk for DPS weapons. But then we also have Rewind Rounds, where when the magazine empties itself, it refills from reserves based on the number of hits. And overall, I actually do prefer Rewind Rounds on this weapon. I just think there's no setup. right? If you die right before damage, if you're damaging the witness, for example, you lose your envious. You go back to square one. Rewind rounds does not care. It's gonna work no matter what, guys. And that consistency is really, really valuable. And it can do some disgusting things with Vice Stinger. We'll show you guys in a sec. Now, either one of those is really going to be fantastic. Like, even if you prefer Envious, either one, God tier. Now, the other thing we obviously need is a God tier damage increasing perk in the right column. And boy, do we have that. Now, first of all, I need to point out this weapon can actually get Reservoir Burst, where when the battery is full, your next burst will deal 25% more damage and cause enemies to explode on death, and it also passively increases the magazine size. Before the final shape, we have never seen Reservoir Burst on a linear fusion rifle before. This and the Line in the Sand are the only linear fusion rifles in the game that can get Reservoir Burst. And it is a wombo combo with Envious Assassin, because Envious Assassin is going to massively overflow the magazine. So instead of just having the first top round of the magazine deal the Reservoir Burst bonus, with Envious, you can see here, I get a few kills on some Shadow Thrall, and suddenly I have a 14 round magazine up from 7. So that means 7 shots in a row are going to be getting that Reservoir Burst damage, and you can see that work in game. In fact, this combo, getting 14 rounds plus Reservoir Burst, I never actually had to reload because of Vice Stinger triggering a couple times. That is insane. Now, as insane as that is, it's actually not the best you can get, in my opinion, because remember, even if you do overflow it with Envious, once you get down into that normal magazine size, like once you get down to 6 or below rounds, you're going to lose that 25% damage bonus. Another great option is what you can see right here, Firing Line. This weapon will deal 20% more precision damage when near 2 or more allies. So, if your entire plan is to use this for like raid boss DPS, dungeon boss DPS, you're going to be near your allies, probably in a well or something like that. So Firing Line is, again, like a great passive option. There's no setup required other than being near your allies, which you're going to want to do anyways. And so like Firing Line plus Rewind rounds is another fantastic roll. But it's not the God roll, and that's because we're actually in the presence of the MVP, the general consensus best possible perk in the entire game for a DPS weapon, and that is Bait and Switch, where dealing damage with all your equipped weapons will give you a 30% damage boost for 10 seconds. Guys, I have spent hundreds of hours combined farming different weapons because of Bait and Switch, trying to get Bait and Switch on rocket launcher rolls, trying to get Bait and Switch on my Edge Transit. Bait and Switch is unbelievably powerful. It will give you the best possible damage that you can trigger at the start of a damage phase, right? You don't need any kills to activate Bait and Switch. It is phenomenal. It is beyond God tier. It is the best in the game. And this is actually the only adaptive burst frame linear fusion in the game that can get Bait and Switch. That is super important because adaptives actually do a little bit more damage than the precision frame. The downside is that they can be harder to control. Like that 3-round burst, it does recoil a bit if you're shooting an enemy with a small head from a while away. Like you can see me on Cali, sometimes you're gonna miss. But if you have an enemy with a big crit, honestly, like the Witness, the current raid final boss, then it doesn't really matter. So you have the best damage archetype now for the first time getting the best DPS perk in Bait and Switch. That's why this weapon is such a big deal. Now, you can combine Bait and Switch with Envious. Literally have the Edge Transit God Roll now on a linear fusion rifle. But in my opinion, I think the utter God Roll is going to be Rewind rounds. And you can see right here the combination of Rewind rounds, reloading your magazine automatically, and Vice Stinger, the origin trait, doing the same thing. Guys, I have 18 total rounds, right, with reserves. I never reload. Like, look in the background. Yeah, I'm missing some shots. I'm being pushed around by Cali. Doesn't matter. The point I'm proving, I never, ever reload. I get through all of my reserves without ever seeing a reload animation. That is the power of this weapon. That's the power of Vice Stinger combined with Rewind rounds. Now, in order to pull this off consistently, you do want to increase your magazine size as much as possible. So the best battery perk you're actually looking for is Ionized Battery. That's going to massively increase the magazine. Now, Enhanced Battery, as you can see right here, will work as well. It will get the magazine from base 5 to 6, but with Enhanced Battery, as you can see, if I put on a normal backup mag mod, it says it's going to 7, but when I equip it, it stays at 6. You actually do need Adept Mag. As you can see, that will get you all the way to 7 if you have Enhanced Battery. I think with Ionized Battery, just the one normal backup mag will be good enough, but that is kind of showing you the value of getting the Adept version. Being able to put on that Adept Mag mod actually does make a difference and gets you that one extra round. So if you can do the Grandmaster, it is pretty valuable. And so guys, that's going to be it for the video. That's why you absolutely want to get your hands on this new weapon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.